Welcome everybody to Adams Polish's Wednesday live video. I'll stand up for you guys. How's that? How's it going? Sorry I missed last week. I had a little family vacation to San Diego. Went to go visit our niece, Alex and Marissa, and they're doing great. They have a cool little apartment, amazing dog, cats, everything. So it's really great seeing them. Also got to link up with a childhood friend of mine, Stephanie, who was out there on work just by chance, saw one of our posts. So it's really great to see Stephanie. She's like one of the sisters I'm only child, so she's kind of like the sister I never had. But anyways, back this week, and what I wanted to do, I think a lot of times what we do is we'll show you like one process, but it doesn't really give you a perspective of when it happens in the full detailing process. Just like, okay, let's get trim right, or okay, let's do ceramic coating. But before you get into ceramic coating, there's all these things you have to do before it. So I was like, you know what? Well, I was like, I'm gonna detail a whole car from beginning to end, and we'll start this week, and then we'll just go through the next few weeks and get to that point where the car is fully detailed. And just so you know, like I'll probably do a little bit of work on the side as well, just to reduce the amount of days we have to do this. But what we're gonna do it on is this 2021 Atlas, and this is actually my wife's car. And look, not only do I get to show you guys how to do it, but get to detail the car during work, so even better. But yeah, I think it's like a pretty good subject. We bought this used in October. It only has like 35,000 miles on it, and we love this car. It's a really great setup, really great platform. We had a Ford Explorer before this, so these VWs, these Atlases were essentially built off of that same Explorer platform. So not all that different, but you get all the amazing German features and engineering out of this. So heated seats, heated steering wheel, like all this stuff, just like as an upgrade, going from a black car to a white car is already great. But as a family car, this thing has been really, really awesome. So I figured, you know what, like I was gonna wait till spring, which we're kind of getting there, to really do a full detail on it. But I figured, hey, why not do it with everybody on the live so they can get a sense of like what it really takes from like the beginning all the way to the end. So pretty pumped for about that. Also, I do want to say for everybody that's watching, we are launching a VIP brand experience here at Adams Polishes. For those that you saw it on our Instagram or even on our Facebook community, we have a landing page that you can go to, and I don't have the link posted here yet, but if you go to our Instagram, the link in our bio will get you there. But also, well, that's probably the best place to do it. There's also some posts on our Adams Polishes community page that have the link, but you go to it, you can get more information there. There's a video of me explaining the whole process, but sign up for it. And what it does is it puts you on a separate email list to be able to gain access to like exclusive content, exclusive product deals, even like early access to limited releases, early access to new products. So something that I think for us, like the Adams Polishes brand has been sort of the same for a long time. And it's you get your standard 20% off, you get your BOGO sale, you get a limited, and then you get a big sale like Black Friday or the watching sale. And we just wanted to create something as a media team and a marketing team to say, look, if people are looking more out of our brand, this is really a great place to go to. So if you're a loyalist and you love our brand, or if you're even somebody that's like, I just want to know more about everything, getting on that email list is ideal. And there's been some discussion we've seen of like, this isn't really exclusive, and that if you sign up, it's absolutely exclusive. There's codes that only you can access on landing pages that only you will have access to. So I helped create it, so I really want to promote it. But I think for me, it's sort of this new system, this kind of new program that I'm like actually very excited about, because as a lot of you know, we were in Arizona shooting a bunch of content. So like this first week, what we'll do is we're going to post one of the videos from that Arizona shoot, and then products that were featured within that video are going to be heavily discounted. So you'll be able to access like exclusive deals only from that video that you get. Now, we'll probably post a video to that first, but then those videos will eventually, like later in the week, go on to YouTube as well. So the video itself might not be fully exclusive for the whole time, but you know, once it goes on YouTube, the people there won't be able to get those exclusive deals. So only you'll have access to that. So I strongly recommend it. And I think it's such a simple thing that you sign up for it. Once you're signed up, then every week on Monday, we'll send out an email that hits your inbox that is an updated either video or updated early access to a new product or limited. And you'll have access to that through Monday through Sunday. And then the following Monday, we'll post a whole new one. So then the previous week, all the deals will be gone. So you get about a week of time to take advantage of that. So I'm not joking. Like, this is something that I'm very excited about. I put a lot of work into it, but also I think it's something that is very accessible for people, but it's going to be super interesting. We're even going to post like behind the scenes type of stuff, even some very like niche type of things. Like I'm in discussion right now with a police officer in Commerce City where we're going to go and do a live clinic for their motorcycle officers on how to clean their bikes. So we'll film that. We'll put it on that exclusive email list. So make sure you check that out. Go to the link in our bio on Instagram. If you don't have Instagram, I think the link is somewhere on Facebook as well. So make sure you check that out. If you can't find it, email me. I'll send you the link, joe@adamspolishes.com. But
Juan says, I noticed you guys are now available in Walmart. That's really cool.
oh yeah, that's another thing to talk about. I'm going to talk about that while I finish cleaning this wheel. But yeah, so Vaughn said available in Walmart. I think if you ask 90% of people in the world, Walmart they're like, I can't support Adams Polishes anymore. Listen, Walmart is going to be a great opportunity for not only us as Adams Polishes, but for you, the consumer. So, you know, I think the thing that what it does is it brings availability to our product all the time, whether it's at AutoZone, Advanced Auto Parts, or Walmart. Going into brick and mortar is just a way to give access to everybody all the time. Now, in Walmart, we only have choice select products. It's like our top 6 things that like most people use. So you're gonna get car shampoo, detail spray, tire shine. I think there's graphene tire dressing. Those are 4, but I'm not sure all of them. But you know, I think the interesting thing about this is, I think common sense for people would think, oh, Adams Polishes is fighting to get into Walmart. They're fighting to get in there. To be honest with you, the landscape of car care has changed so much that these big businesses like AutoZone, Advanced Auto Parts, and Walmart realize, they see the shift of going from kind of your standard car care that you can get at your local grocery store, Walmart and stuff, to a big demand and more premium type of car care. And they actually approached us. And we, on the side, have even been doing some projects for like a really big corporation, working together with them, and actually Walmart approached them and then they told us about it. So we're honored to do that. I mean, it's one of those things that, you know, I mean, think about it. If you're selling a product yourself, you created a product, and an organization like Walmart came to you and was like, hey, we want you to come into our stores. And you're like, nah, I'm good. Like, you would be silly not to do that. So I think for us, we treat everything as opportunity, and this is no different. So if anything, you know, now you get access to some of your favorite products in a store like Walmart. So I think it's pretty exciting. Now, if the Walmart's too far from you, it's like 30-minute drive, but AutoZone's 5 minutes away, go to AutoZone. So there you go. And I think, again, it's like highly consumed products like car shampoo and detail spray. So if you get on a Saturday and you're gonna do what I'm doing, where you're gonna wash your car and everything, and you ran out of car shampoo and you're like, oh man, traditionally with us, you'd have to go online, order, it would come to you in 3 to 5 days. Now you just drive to the store, get your stuff, and then you're ready to go. So there you go. So what I'm doing, so just FYI, like I think in previous weeks live, you know, we can kind of do one section. So the whole live seems like you get a lot out of it. With this, I'm doing the whole car. So bear with me as I go through and clean all the wheels, wash the whole car. And I think really what I want to say is it's going to give you a great opportunity to ask questions while there's some dead time while I'm going through the process. So make sure you're like locked and loaded with some questions. It doesn't have to be related to like what I'm doing at this time, which would be wheel cleaning right now. You know, yeah, but I just want to say, like, you know, any questions related to car care, detailing, any of this stuff, I'll answer it to my best ability.
Ken Wilson says, what's the difference between the interior cleaner and the matte and liner cleaner? Is it just the dilution?
Oh, that's a good
He
question.
means total interior.
Well, I think he's probably, who was that?
Ken.
Ken. Kent or Ken?
Ken.
Ken. Ken, I just want to make sure you're referencing, did he say cleaner?
Yeah, he said, what is the difference between interior cleaner and the matte and liner cleaner?
Okay.
Is it just dilution?
So we have a product, probably what Ken's referring to is Total Interior Cleaner, which is, it's like a blue colored product, Total Interior Cleaner. And then we have something called Rubber Matte and Liner Cleaner. And so Total Interior Cleaner is sort of like your I can't really, I'm not going to say all-purpose cleaner because we have that and it's a degreaser, but it's sort of like the cleaner for everything in your interior, excluding your rubber mats. And that's probably confusing, but rubber mat and liner cleaner is specific for all-weather floor mats. Like Chris could show you, I have some all-weather floor mats over there. They're WeatherTech that I got, actually, thanks to my parents. They got us for it for Christmas, which was amazing. But rubber mat and liner cleaner has this very specific surfactant in it, and surfactant is just a fancy word for soap, but the surfactant inside of rubber mat and liner cleaner really cleans plastic and rubber like thoroughly, and it leaves it very black in color. I know not all weather floor mats are just black, but it really cleans those surfaces very well. And it's a stronger cleaner, you know. So rubber mat and liner cleaner I don't recommend using on you know, the actual interior of your car, like the door panels or the dash or anything, because you don't need something that is super aggressive. You know, you need something that has good cleaning power, but you don't want to ruin anything inside of there. So Total Interior Cleaner is better for the inside of your car. And the cool thing about Total Interior Cleaner as well, which is why I really wanted to name it what it is it actually works really good on glass and nav screens as well. So when you talk about all of the interior, including your nav screens and the glass, plus, you know, plastic, like your vinyl door panels, your vinyl dash, even leather, you know, leather seats, leather door panels, leather dash, Total Interior Cleaner is a better product for that. And in some instances, it's a little bit of a mild cleaner for carpeted areas or upholstered areas. So sometimes, you know, if you get a little bit of spill of coffee or food or something, then you can use Total Interior Cleaner just quickly to clean that up. But rubber mat and liner cleaner, keep that for your all-weather floor mats. And actually, rubber mat and liner cleaner is like a more concentrated version of our tire and rubber cleaner. So you know how well that works on tires. So rubber mat and liner cleaner just does that much more of a job for like, because the thing about tires is they get dirty, and more of what you're cleaning off the tires is tire blooming, which comes from the manufacturing process. So, you know, your tires aren't getting stepped on with dirt and grime and craziness like that, right? So rubber mat and liner cleaner is a little bit more concentrated, so it can cut through more of, you know, food residue, dirt and grime, stuff that tire and rubber cleaner can do, but rubber mat and liner cleaner does a little bit better. So. We know Fishy.
He's maintaining a Cerakote. How much is too much using the shampoo? I'm using it every 3 to 4 weeks. It's called rain. Will it damage the coating?
The graphene shampoo?
Yep.
That's a good question. So, Mr. Fishy, good to see you on here again, as always. So, you can never use too much graphene shampoo, and if anything, the graphene shampoo is going to support the ceramic coating that's on the car already, no matter if it's graphene or not. Doesn't matter, because it has like a touch of the silica resin as well as some of the graphene. So, you know, I would say like graphene shampoo has a little more cleaning power than our standard car shampoo. So what I would tell you, Fishy, because I know like using graphene shampoo can like even get expensive because it costs more than your standard car soap. So, you know, I would say like every third wash use graphene shampoo, and then every wash in between that just use your standard car shampoo. You know, so it's not something you need to use every time, but it's something to help support the hydrophobics and.
But if you did use it every time, it wouldn't.
Yeah, if you did use it every time, it doesn't matter. It's fine to do that. It's just unnecessary. But if it's something that you feel like you need to do every time, do it, because it's only going to help the ceramic coating that you're working on. So. Oh yeah, it's been raining like crazy there. They got those, what are they called, Chris? Atmospheric river. Yeah, with the rain, guess what, Fishy? Welcome to our world. You're actually getting weather in Southern California for the first time in like 10 years. But yeah,
Colorado.
We know the deal. And just FYI, like any chemical that we sell at Adams Polishes is not even remotely strong enough to remove ceramic coating from a car. Like, it's more of the abrasion part. So, you know, abrasion meaning, like, if you wash your car consistently and you don't use 2 buckets, there's more abrasion that's happening. So like that's a way to reduce the longevity of a ceramic coating. Taking it through a car wash with the brushes is a way to reduce longevity, because those brushes, granted, they might be cleaned every here and there, but like they aren't like your premium wash pads and stuff that we're using here. So anytime there's a abrasion aspect that's happening, then your ceramic coating is going to be reduced. And listen, in ceramic coatings in places like Colorado and the Midwest where it snows, and like, look at this. This is just after the snow melts off of the car, it's just dirt and grime sitting on the surface. So like I can get a lot of that off with pressure washing it, but there's still be some aspect to it in places. So once that gets in my wash pad, yes, I can use the grit guards and things to get as much of that out, but it's just, realistically, in Colorado, you're when you're washing, you have more dirt on the car than when you're in like Southern California. Like the rain is not amazing, but it's not like the dirt sticks to your car and just stays there. Like, you know, your car in Southern California is not going to look like this unless you go up to Big Bear Mountain or Mammoth Mountain, you know, up in the snow. So, so yeah, I mean, I think, and that's partially why, like with our ceramic coatings, it's hard for us. Like I struggle. We have to do it because everyone else in the industry does it, but you know, we put a number on it. We're like, this will last 9 years. Definitely in some parts of the world, it will last 20 years, right? Because there's like, it's garaged every day. In Colorado, if it's a daily driver, it's not going to last 9 years. Just like think realistically about it. And what that means is that you need to take care of it more consistently, you know, and that means maybe every 3 years you just reapply the coating. But if I have to do that process once every 3 years, I mean, that is so much easier than waxing your car every month, you know? So, and I think like Adam and I talked about it a lot on the video shoot in Arizona, and we shot a video there about like just the easiest way possible to ceramic coat your car. And like we use ceramic coating, like I think traditionally with ceramic coatings, it was like you're preserving perfection. Like you got to polish the car and do all this stuff so you preserve a perfect car. Ceramic coating to us is less about that, as more of a functionality, right? So like using the like lower surface tension, the water beading to like make cleaning your car easier. To us, there's more of a benefit to that than like needing to keep your car perfect all the time. But if Adam and I take care of our cars a lot, so like our cars look perfect, But that's because twice a year, if not 3 times a year, I know he's doing it probably 4 or 5 times a year. He's polishing his car section by section and then ceramic coating. And then, you know, his car just always looks amazing. I don't have as much time because, you know, I didn't start Adam's polishes like he did, you know, so he's like semi-retired. But you know, I have like a kid reality and working here. So like I don't have as much time as him. So I'm doing it more like twice a year, 1-step polish and reapplying the graphene ceramic spray coating, because the ceramic spray coating is intended to last 2 years. And I think in Colorado, realistically, it probably lasts, you know, 1.5 years if you take care of it. And so if I know it's going to last about 1.5 years, then every 6 months, if I'm 1-step polish and then apply the coating, I know it's just always going to be there and be amazing. So I think I will say this, like, this might sound kind of weird, but car care is a total personal thing. Like I can give you the foundation and the fundamentals of how to do this, but like how you use it in your life is kind of your own thing, because I don't know how often somebody drives their car. I don't know what kind of weather they're in. So taking like everything that we're teaching you guys and then applying it however you want to your life is that's kind of like what we want. But for sure we want people to take care of their cars, because clean cars is just, they drive better. They're faster, you know? So I'm sure you guys can notice, but on this car, these rear fender wells are carpeted. So I don't like to spray product into these. There's no reason to do it. So what I spend a little bit of extra time with the pressure washer, and you could see like how much dirt was coming out of it.
You could see the mud running down.
Yeah, you can see it on the wheel right here. But what I will do is take the fender brush, no product, like I didn't spray any product in there, and I'll scrub it to try to loosen some of the dirt in there, like this. Especially like under this plastic trim piece here. And then when I spray it, even more should come out. See it?
Yep.
Oh, there's so much. It's starting to get less dark.
Marcos, that's gonna...
Yeah, no kidding. You know, Marco, like wheels and tires in winter is just, they get so thrashed. So now after I've addressed the carpeted fender wells, now I spray. I'm using wheel and tire cleaner, and the reason for that is this car is not a performance type of car, you know, meaning like it's not a car that's intended to go super, super fast. So the brake dust that I get off of this isn't as crazy as like a Porsche or even like a Volkswagen, same manufacturer, but like a Volkswagen Golf R that is a performance, you know, hatchback. That one has a lot of metallic brake dust that comes off of it. So if you have more of a performance car, you want to be using just our standard wheel cleaner. It's like the teal colored product. that has thioglycolate in it, which that's the one that while you spray it on and start cleaning, it like turns purple. And the thioglycolate, the purple color, is not like a magic thing our chemist does. It's an actual like scientific reaction between the thioglycolate and the metal inside of the brake dust. And so that thioglycolate like melts that brake dust down, and that's why you would use that for. That's why you would use that for a more performance car. Where this being like an SUV, probably some people would consider it like more of a crossover. It's still pretty big. It has 3 rows, but it's not like a Suburban. But this doesn't have crazy performance brakes, so I'm using wheel and tire cleaner because the wheel and tire cleaner actually does a really, really good job at pulling out the brown in the tire. You can see it. And so I'm actually getting like more bang for my buck because I can clean the wheel and the tire very, very thoroughly, because I don't have the performance brakes on here. So that's why I chose that. Is that gonna come off? Oh yeah. So part of this detailing process here in a couple weeks probably is going to be taking these wheels off and polishing them and ceramic coating them. So that's for sure something that will happen during this process because some of the brake dust is already like, especially like in the back right here. It's hard to, I can't really see it, but it's like caked on back there. So, and just FYI, so you guys know how crazy Colorado is, it snowed here yesterday. Like full on 40 degrees snowing. And today it's like, what, 55? Yeah, 55 and sunny. It's supposed to be close to 70 on Saturday. So, you know, I was tracking the weather earlier this week, and a lot of times the weather kind of determines the process I'm going to do during the live, and I just figured, you know what? I think the weather should be pretty good up until like next week's live, next week on Wednesday. And so this is actually a good process to do now because I won't have to do as much work coming back next Wednesday. I'll probably just have to clean the car really quick, which I'll do before we go live. But today, realistically, what I'm trying to do is just get the car prepped for the next step of the detailing process. So I will be I'm on my last wheel right now. We'll get into washing the car here in a second. And I'm gonna be using strip wash to foam it down, but I'll just use standard car shampoo in my bucket. And then because it's a white car and it probably has never been treated, never been decon the right way, I will do iron remover today, and then we'll just get it inside and dry it, and then that will kind of get it to that point of ready to start polishing, and then that's what we'll get into next week.
What's best to help the dashboard and pleather inside the car, like in the interior?
Dashboard and pleather, I love it. One of my favorite words. Pleather. Best product for that, I would say like a nice cleaning of it, using our leather and interior cleaner, not the total interior cleaner, but the leather interior cleaner, and then dressing it with the leather conditioner. That will just help the color richness look amazing. And leather conditioner is very much like intended to condition real leather, but you know, we know that 90% of cars today do not have real leather in them. It's as the person commented, it's more pleather. So but the leather conditioner it will act as a dressing, so it's gonna enhance the look of the pleather. But also, with that kind of stuff, the more you feed it and help it moisturize it as much as you can. I mean, pleather, if it's plastic, like a petroleum-based pleather, probably not going to be feeding it, but the leather conditioner will protect it, from like UV. Because what happens with the pleather, it's going to oxidize. So it's kind of like same with your plastic, right? Like the plastic on the outside of your car, the more consistently that you dress it with like VRT or graphene VRT, the longer it's gonna look good. So treat it kind of the same idea, but you don't want to use VRT because it's a little bit more slick of a product. So a deep cleaning with leather interior cleaner, then follow it up with leather conditioner, all in the same, process. And then aside from that, so I would do that like to start with, and then maybe for like a couple months use interior detailer. Again, that's like gonna have UV blockers, and it's gonna help with the color richness, the look of it. Use that all in between, and then like maybe in 2 months, once it starts to get, I mean, if you're in your car a lot and it gets really dirty, then go back and do leather interior cleaner, leather conditioner, and then you just detail it and keep it touched up with interior detailer. That's like I think that's my favorite way to do that kind of stuff.
Woody says, does either graphene detail spray or graphene CS3 have enough lubricants that I don't have to wash my car before doing a quick detail if it's not too dirty?
That's a good question. Who asked that?
Woody.
Rephrase the question again, Chris.
Does graphene detail spray or graphene CS3 have enough lubricants to do a quick wash, like a quick detail when your car isn't super dirty?
Okay, yeah. So the answer is yes, but I would recommend using standard waterless wash. And the reason is the standard waterless wash doesn't have any protection agents in it, like graphene CS3 or graphene detail spray. And so I guess my question for, who was it again?
Woody.
For Woody is, when you say doing a quick detail, does that mean quick detail meaning like polishing or like clay bar and stuff like that? Or are you trying to use the graphene detail spray or graphene CS3 as like the thing that gets the car clean, and then, you do everything else, but you're not actually polishing? So that would be my question. And I guess like to build off of that, like if you are going to be polishing your car or even like doing a clay bar, then using things without protection agents in it are better, because like if you try to use graphene detail spray and the clay bar just like sticks to the surface because it's trying to work with and react to the graphene protection in it.
Someone literally just asked that exact question.
Oh, okay. So like the only product, not the only product, but the best product to use for claying a car, using the clay bar in a car or clay mitt, is the detail spray. And then the second product you can use if you don't have detail spray or you want to save the detail spray is waterless wash. And I know like Anthony that runs the store in Anaheim, and he also does like a lot of detailing at that store. He likes to use the waterless wash for claying. I haven't had like good results or success with it, and that's just, again, I've been trained, so not old school, but I've been trained by Adam, and the detail spray has worked every time. It's hard for me to go away from it, but okay, yeah. So like, and I would say, Woody, like if if the car, it has noticeable dust on it, like you could like run your finger over it and you can see like dust or dirt on there, graphene CS3 is a better choice because it has, so CS3 stands for, CS stands for ceramic spray, and then the 3 stands for the 3 things it does. So it's a ceramic spray because it has silica, and because it's the reason why we call it graphene, it has the silica paired with the reduced graphene oxide. And then the 3 means the 3 things it does. Number 1, it has the properties of waterless wash, so lubrication. Number 2, it has the shine properties that detail spray have in it, so shine enhancement. And then the third one is protection, which is the silica and the reduced graphene oxide. So that's what CS3 stands for. So yeah, if your car is like noticeably dirty, then use the CS3. But if it doesn't look super crazy dirty, like it's just barely dusty, then graphene detail spray is probably a better choice because the graphene detail spray is like a total shine enhancement. It makes your car glow. And it has some of the graphene protection in it, so it's gonna help with that as well. So,
But it's less lubricated. So
but it's like,
not as
yeah,
good-
less
not as good
lubricated.
for more dirt.
Exactly. Look, Cruz is doing my job, you guys. Yeah, less lubricated. So, you know, making your car look super shiny when it's not, you don't need the power of lubrication to remove dirt. Because here's the thing, lubrication means less surface tension, meaning like when you wipe and you have less surface tension, you don't have to push as hard or scrub, and then your towel glides on the surface and the abrasion doesn't happen as bad, you know. So so that's what we're talking about when why you need lubrication. So all right, before I move on to full wash, we'll pop the hood. And since I have all my wheel cleaning tools here and everything, it's just easier to do this all at once. So cleaning an engine. So one thing with cleaning an engine is you don't want to just hose this down with your standard garden hose, because all of these electrical components, if water pools up and stays in there, it can just wreak havoc on your computer system. And I would say more modern cars, like being a 21, it's not as, you don't have to be as concerned. When you get into older cars like early 2000s and before, you really need to be concerned. Now, my air intake is right here. It's covered. So if I had an aftermarket open air intake, I would want to, I don't want to spray water directly onto that. So I'd want to either put a bag over it or I'd want to wrap foil around it so water doesn't get into it. But with this car, you can see it's like, there's a vent here. It comes all the way to the front of the car. So I'm not going to be spraying it, which is fine, but still using a pressure washer is a better choice. And
so you're not going to be getting water in the filter?
yeah, I'm not going to be getting water in the filter because this is covered. And yeah, so, you know, like these connectors are all water sealed for my electrical.
For newer cars.
For newer cars. This is covered. This is covered here, or this is waterproof, right? So I know like with this car, I'm safe to hit it with the pressure washer. If this was not watertight, I would take foil and wrap it around these. So when I hit it with the pressure washer, it doesn't go directly into it. Again, same with the open air filter. So since this is okay, then we'll just go for it. Now, I just learned this from Adam, but you always start from the top and you want to get the underside of the hood. Sometimes these noise dampening, these are kind of like felt pieces. Because of the heat of your engine, these just deteriorate. So if you go to spray this and this just starts like, you know, it's gonna just deteriorate and blast off, don't hit this part. And I don't think they're that expensive, so just replace it. You know, it's just like a visual thing when you open it. Also, you can see like a lot of bug guts in here. So I always start from the top down, and one thing he showed me was to lower it down. So like you're not blasting, if I go like this and it blasts up and goes onto the paint. So start here. I'm okay if it gets a little bit on the glass, not as worried about that.
graphene ceramic coating?
Yeah. Somebody asked, does the old ceramic booze work with graphene ceramic coating? The answer is yes. And the reason why is because the silica inside of the standard ceramic booze is still compatible with the polystyrene that is in the graphene ceramic coating. So yeah, if you have the old ceramic booze, so actually I really like that product. But yeah, you can definitely 100% use that on there. Now, the product I like to use for cleaning the engine bay is tire and rubber cleaner. But like I was talking about before, rubber mat and liner cleaner, which I put in this IK bottle, is a little bit more concentrated version. So I don't have tire and rubber cleaner with me. I have this. So I'll just take this and blast this down the best I can.
Why would you use this over all-purpose cleaner?
So that's a good question. Why would you use this over all-purpose cleaner? You can still use all-purpose cleaner. What? If that's the only thing you have. But the reason why I like this better is because, like we talked about before, with all-weather floor mats, this leaves the black plastic that much more rich in color. Where with all-purpose cleaner, if you end up, if you rinse it off, but there's some left over, it can actually like leave almost like a chalky residue. So I think that this is just a little bit better of a product. So that's just kind of how, that's like what Adam taught me. And it has proven true. So
Anton says, I think Joe has those shoes in all colors.
just two different colors. I love these shoes. By the way, so these are the Jordan Air 1, the low version. And I had a coupon at Nike. I got these for like $16. So don't think that I have these like crazy hypebeast shoes that are super expensive. I have kids, so I don't have a lot of money to spend on shoes. But I'm definitely like at heart a sneakerhead, because when I was growing up, that's when like a lot of that culture started. I was just kind of at the tail end. I was born in 1984. Just, I know everyone thought I was 21, but but now you know how old I am. But back in that era, that's when like Jordan first hit the scene. And I like sneakers for the history of them. I think nowadays sneakers are liked because of the hype that they bring and maybe the resale value. But I like the stories of sneakers. Like Michael Jordan, Nike. If anyone's seen Shoe Dog, I still haven't seen it, but it's a story of when Nike signed Michael Jordan. And this guy Sonny is the guy who really wanted to sign him. And then Nike signed him. They designed his first shoe. And back in those days in the NBA, you couldn't wear shoes that were any other color than black or white. And so Nike and Jordan said, I don't care. And they made the red, white, and black colored shoes. And he got fined like something crazy, like $5,000 every game he wore them. And then finally they lifted that ban. And so then they could start designing whatever shoes they want. And so those kind of stories I think are just amazing. And I think with sneakers too, especially like basketball shoes, they represent a very specific era, a very specific time in sports history. And so, like the Jordan 11, those are my favorite Jordans, the patent leather. But those, like, I just remember watching him on TV. I think that was like, I want to say it was 96 when those came out, or 97. And, just, it was like such a game changer when he had those shoes. And I can just remember watching him in those. And then actually those Jordan 11s, those are the shoes I wore my senior year of basketball. I had the all black on top with the red sole. Looks so good.
You want to say which brush you're using?
This is the trim and lug nut brush. So I went through with the wheel face brush and got all the broad surfaces. And now I take the trim and lug nut brush and I hit all the, as Adam would say, nooks and crannies.
Rick Haley also had a good point. He said, reminder, never spray a hot engine.
Yeah, that is Rick, 100%. Rick said, don't ever spray a hot engine, and he's right. So, yeah, if you're autocrossing your car, you're doing, you know, illegal drifting in the streets, don't just pull it in and start cleaning the engine. Same with your wheels and tires. You want to make sure they're cool to the touch before you actually start cleaning into them. Sorry, I got all caught up with like sneakers and remember. I forget
I
that
got you back on track.
I'm with a bunch of car guys here, so they probably don't care.
I think there's a lot of crossover between those two pieces.
Yeah. Okay. Now we rinse it off. So again, start from the top. So as I was doing this, you know, we saw some like gunk up here, and there's a ton right here. I'm sort of making a mental note. I don't want to take my brush and scrub harder. This might take a little bit more of like clay bar or something different, but scrubbing is scratching. So instead of trying to do extra work with like the pressure of how I'm doing this, I'm just gonna wait and I'll address that later to make sure it looks good. Okay, so close that, I'll dress that. And actually what I want to do with this engine, because it's never been done, is it's never been protected. So normally what I would do is I would take an air cannon and blow that out, and then I would spray, I would spray interior detailer on there to darken the plastic. It's almost like this dressing that really works well on engines, but this has never been protected. So I'm just gonna close the hood. When I bring it inside to dry it, I will dry everything from the hood to the paint, everything else. And then I'm actually gonna ceramic coat that with the spray coating, because I want the next time I come back, because it wasn't beating water at all. It was just standard, very flat on the plastic. So what I wanna do is, so I'll just leave that for now, and then we can dry it. We can dry it with the air cannon and then protect it with spray coating. Now, I had done the other two that I have of these, but I'll show you right now how to clean all-weather floor mats. So you can see this one's like filthy. So pressure washer first. Okay, make sure there's not a car right in front of you. Like I turned it where this slope goes up. I turned it more to, or maybe even away from the cart, because once you start blasting this and you push it this way, it's gonna go. I'm still getting it on the cart a little bit, but you don't want this to get all over your car while you're doing this. So you can also just blast it straight on. And then just, okay, so there's still, you can kind of see it, but still very dirty. I'm gonna take, again, rubber mat and liner cleaner.
This time such a thing, it was name drop.
Exactly.
Got some people just joining us because the time apparently was
Oh yeah, sorry you guys. I think that my computer defaulted to San Diego time, so probably put it at 2 o'clock on accident, so I apologize. But welcome everybody, you haven't missed much. We've essentially cleaned the engine. We have cleaned the wheels and tires. And now I have one more floor mat that I'm cleaning as well. And just to remind everybody who joined, if you have any detailing questions or anything, don't hesitate. You can ask us. We'll answer them the best we can. Okay. And then you rinse this off. I'm actually going to move this over a little bit. Okay. And then if you have the clips, great. If you don't, I don't have the clips at home, so I just set them up against a thing like that, get them out in the sun so they okay, so I some of you probably saw, but I popped the drain plug on the premium bucket, and I'm going to take the pressure washer tip off, and then with each tool I'm going to go through and spray it down with water, wring it out, and then this is one aspect of this bucket that I really like, is that I can hit the drain plug at the bottom. This is before I'm going to get into the washing part, and I can clean my wheel cleaning tools like I'm doing right now, and actually do this. Put this tray on the outside, it's easier to organize. But now I can clean the bucket out a little bit easier. I'm gonna have to tip it forward a little bit. But it's easier to clean my wheel brushes rather than like setting them on the ground. So having the ability for this bucket to drain, just I think all around makes it like a little bit easier of a process to clean your wheel cleaning tools. Whoops. But also cleaning your bucket out. So I think that's pretty good. Now I'll just put the drain plug back in. And now what I can do is fill this bucket up. So call this an intermission. If you guys need to move your mouse to make it look like you're working when you're at work, this is the time to do it. If you need to go grab LaCroix or Polar sparkling water, this just takes a long time to fill the bucket up. But if you have questions, you can ask.
Mark says for wheel and tire cleaner, to remove the layer of ground on the tires, is it best to spray and scrub, or just spray and scrub right away?
So Mark asked, with wheel and tire cleaner, is it better to spray it on, let it sit for a while, scrub it, rinse it off, or spray it on and scrub it right away? The product starts working instantly, and I think you can let it sit for a few seconds, but I recommend not letting it dry because it can leave a residue on the tire. So if what I like to do is I will spray it on, and I always start spraying it on the tires first, because if I spray it on the tires first, then as I go through and spray everything else, it's like working all during that time, right? And then also, aside from that, like the front fenders here are plastic, where the back were carpeted. And so with the front being plastic, I sprayed the product into the fender wells. So instead of immediately scrubbing the tires, I use the fender brush and I dress the fenders first. So all that time of me spraying the wheel and the fender wells and then using the fender brush, it was working on the tire the whole time. And then once I'm done doing that, then I just take that brush and I scrub the tires. So I would say that if there's a lot of browning on the tire, like really bad, you're better off doing the process twice than you are letting the product sit and dry all the way. So sometimes you have to do that with cars. And I would say the hardest thing to get off of tires on cars, and we ran into this issue when we were in Arizona, old tire dressing that, you know, somebody puts like a super crazy glossy tire shine on a car, like if you go to a dealership or a rental car company, and instead of cleaning that off, they just put another layer of silicone tire dressing on, and it just starts building up and building up and building up. And then that oxidizes, turns orange or brown. And then not only does the product, you can cut through it, but you have to do it on the car we were working on in Arizona. We had to do it 4 times, you know, so that just gives you an idea of like spraying the product. It can only penetrate so far. So you need to scrub it off, spray it on again, let it sit for a second, scrub it. And it kind of sucks, but that's just the reality sometimes. Like this car, it looks like previous owners in the dealership, they never put tire dressing on this car. So when I sprayed it on and it turned brown, that was probably more from the tire blooming than anything. You know, so you can see on those tires and the wheels, like they are very clean. And my favorite thing is that the tires are more jet black than they were before. So I'm very happy with how those turned out, you know. But I hope that answers your question, Mark.
I think it does.
I need to grab one thing because I don't have, one thing I forgot was a wash pad, so just give me 1 second. Yo, how's it going?
Good, how are you, man?
You know, I'm so good. You like it? Nah. Bear with me for a second, guys. I gotta go grab a new one because we don't have any in the detail there. Hey, amigo.
Hey, amigo, ¿cómo
How are you? Good to see you.
Fine.
All right, got him. I'm over on the line. They're packing up orders. Actor 2.0. My amigo working very hard. Hold on, I'm live right now. Hold on 1 second. Okay. We actually have our good 10-inch wash pads. I was talking the whole time, Chris. Oh, that's right. Chris has the same thing. Okay. 10-inch wash pad. All right. Now, car shampoo. I'm going to use, so one thing with the new premium buckets, when they're tethered, sometimes it's hard to know what side is what. So this actually works out because I have wheels on one, not on this one. So I'm going to put a little bit of car shampoo in the bucket, but where you really want it to go is onto the actual wash pad because you want the suds coming out of the wash pad. So car shampoo in the bucket first. And I'll tell you this, I do that because the strip wash like really hurts my hands. Like they turned bright red the last time I used it. So I want to be having the wash pad shampoo in it. I just have to grab a foam cannon. Geez, look how prepared I am. This is embarrassing. Okay, pro tip, all right? Hopefully you guys like this. I took the top.
Get your stuff together first.
Exactly. Well, I took just the top of the foam cannon, and I have strip wash. It doesn't have a pull top on it. It only has this cap. So what I do is take the cap off, and on the foam cannon head here, you have these outside threads that are for the canister that it comes with, but there's also threads in the middle that allow you to put a 16 ounce directly onto it. Now it looks kind of funny, like it has a big hat on, but this is secure on here, all right? So, and just FYI, this is how I use my foam cannon, okay? I keep my canister somewhere. I think I put change in it actually. But then I turn this top knob all the way. You can see the thing on here. Less is going this way and more is going this way. I turn it all the way left. So now what's happening is the water from the pressure washer is just coming straight through here. And then as I dial this up, it will start to pull out of the straw more. So I always start with the least amount of water first. And what it allows me to do as well is to, I can get my fan correct without wasting a bunch of the soap. So I'll put this on, make sure it clicks on. Now when I pull it, I can see my fan, and I know I want it to be wider, like right there. And then what I do is as I pull this onto the car, I start dialing this, and you'll see, there it is, starts to come out. And actually the fan got a little bit wider, so lower it, and now I can just use my 16-ounce bottle of strip wash to foam the car down, like so. And I always start foaming the car in the sunny side first. Now, a lot of you are probably like, this guy's a total amateur because I didn't rinse the car first. So, I do need to rinse the car. Yeah, and I wouldn't recommend, like, I think rinsing the car first is always best. I think there's some discussion out there that you should foam your car first, then rinse it, then foam it again, then wash it, then rinse it. If that's the case, I think people were probably just trying to get you to buy more foam or use more foam. So rinse first. So whenever I rinse, like I think this is connected to the deionizer, but I don't know for sure. So, and I'm not going to measure my water right now. So what I'm going to do is rinse the shaded side first because that side's going to dry a lot slower. So I have less risk of getting water spots on this side. So rinse, and I'm trying to rinse. By the way, I was just at the Grizzly Rose and someone swiped me. So this is going to be something that I need to address in the details. So I have touch-up paint, so I'm going to need to do that here. But a lot of this will polish out. But that's something we'll talk about in the detail. One thing Adam taught me recently is, like what I used to do, is I would rinse the whole top half of the car and move my way down. He goes like panel by panel, so he works here, and then he works here, and then he works here. It just makes it more efficient. And I thought it was like a really cool tip that he gave me on that. So you notice I'm not going this way into the sun. I'm staying in the shade because I'm trying to avoid getting water spots. And I don't know if you can see it, Chris, right now, but the paint is very flat. About as flat as the earth. Just kidding. But it is very, very, very flat. Okay, so I know for sure, like, I knew it would be like that because I haven't detailed this car yet, but if you're a pro detailer like Anton in the Philippines and you go to start detailing a car, you can generally see what's the car's kind of telling you what it's going to need. So I know for sure this needs to be, I mean, I already knew, but this car for sure needs to be protected somehow, whether that's, you know, graphene ceramic coating or sealant, whatever it is. So now what I'm going to do is I'll hit the front grille because it's still a shade. I'll probably, I don't know how long this will take me to do, but this might even get pushed into like an hour, 2 hours maybe. Too long. Anyways, now I'm going to start rinsing. The stuff in the sun. Got to make sure I get the top as well. And for everyone watching, like if you don't have time to watch this whole thing, it gets posted to YouTube. So if you got to a certain point, like an hour into it, and you had to actually go do work in the office, or you have a honey-do list at home, you can always come back and pick up like where you left off. So. And I will say this too, like your initial wash before you get into the detailing, and this isn't protected. So this is gonna take longer than your just like a traditional wash after it's been coated and after it, it's protected, after it's nice and clean. I don't know, Chris. We should save this car for some ceramic coating marketing videos. There I go again, trying to go the whole top part. This thing desperately needs iron remover.
Anton says you open a new wash mitt every live. Can you send me this one once you're done with it?
You know what, Anton? Here's the problem, man. This is like the community wash bay, so every time I come over here, it's something different. Okay, back to foaming. That's a good question. So strip wash, somebody said any concern of strip wash being on the car for too long of a time. I'm not concerned because strip wash actually, with it being more powerful to remove salts and wax and sealant that was on the car, it neutralizes the water. So it's actually better to have the strip wash dry on the car than to have just the regular hard water dry on the car. So I'm not concerned at all. And all of our soaps are like that. It's designed that way because you want the soap to be more safe than having water dry on the car. So no, I'm not concerned at all. And it's not like this super acidic car soap that's gonna ruin the paint or stain it. It does enough to remove like the salt, magnesium chloride, stuff like that, but not so powerful. It's gonna, I mean, think about it. Imagine if we sold you guys a soap that ruined your car. That would be just completely awful on our end, right? So we're not gonna sell you anything that damages your car. Now check this out. With me using my soap this way, you can see how much. Here, I'll just take this off so you can see it. I'm gonna set this aside. Oh, I foamed the cart down. That happens. Look how much strip wash I used. Okay, it probably that much. So putting this on at full strength and then dialing it down on the foam cannon, you end up using less product out of here because you're letting the foam cannon dilute it itself. So now I put the cap back on and now I just put it in my cabinet and it's ready to go. So that's why I personally like, come on, Kane. That's why I personally like doing that. What's up?
Hi.
Everyone, this is Kane. He runs the warehouse.
Hey guys.
So if you guys have any order problems, he's the guy you email.
Get you done.
Okay, now getting into the washing part. So
How
I
often
put-
should you use strip wash, and when would you want to use it rather than regular car shampoo?
that's a good question. So somebody asked, how often should you use strip wash? And say it, the second part.
How often to use it versus regular car
How often you use it versus regular car shampoo. Now, strip wash, I would say, is better suited for climates like where it snows a lot, where you get magnesium chloride, salt. If you live in Michigan, 100% you need to use this. Ohio, they just throw salt on the road. In Colorado, they use magnesium chloride. Now, I use this maybe 2 or 3 times throughout the winter. I definitely use it in the springtime because I want to get as much of that salt and stuff off of the car. Now, you're going to use probably strip wash 5% of the time, car shampoo 95 95 to 90% of the time, okay? So there you go. Strip wash has a very specific purpose. Car shampoo has a lot of lubricity and it's more of your standard car soap, but it also neutralizes the water. So high quality car soap. And the nice thing about these is if it dries on the car, I can still rinse it off. It doesn't stain on there. I don't have to like abrade it off. So I generated the suds with this guy and now go through and actually wash the car. Now, when I'm washing a car that is going to be detailed, I do it a lot different than when I wash a car that has already been detailed. So with this,
You mean like polished? specifically?
yeah, like polished or ceramic coated, I'm only going to use one wash pad because if I use one wash pad and I get, if I put a little bit of marring or damage into the surface, I am not worried about it because I know when I get into the polishing step, I'm going to be fixing that anyways. Now, you don't want to add a crazy amount of damage, right? So like, don't be careless, but one wash pad is suitable for doing a wash or detail on a car that is going to be detailed. So
How often should you use strip wash if you live in the summer conditions like Ventura County?
that's a good question. I bet Fishy asked that.
Nope, Mango Nita.
Okay, Mango Nita.
I think that's how you pronounce it.
That's a cool name, by the way.
YouTube usernames are
Yeah.
such a gamble.
So I would say, and actually that's something I even forgot to talk about. So Mango Nita, thank you for bringing that up. But how often should you use strip wash in more summer conditions like Ventura County? I would say you don't need to use it as often. I would say it's more of like strip washes in those kind of conditions are more for when you go into detailing cars that have wax or sealant on them. Okay, so if your car has been waxed and it has sealant on it, and you're going to go in and do like a full detail on it and ceramic coat it, then use strip wash before you do that. But you're probably using it more like 1% of the time or like 0% of the time because you're going to be washing a car that it's not, like in Ventura County, you're not going to get a ton of salt on the road like you do here in the Midwest or in the north, like South Dakota, Montana, Wyoming. So I would say the only time you need to use it is when you're going to get ready to detail a car that you don't necessarily know how it's been protected or how it's been maintained. So yeah, this car really needs iron remover, which we're going to do here in a second. But I can see, you can see back here, it's hard to, there's like orange specks all over this thing. So, and I'm going to show you the way I like to use iron remover, which is maybe different than some people. So what I'm doing is I am using the wash pad on the car, and then I come over here and I have this guy at the bottom. So I'm rubbing this against this to get the loose excess dirt and grime off. So you can see how clean the wash pad gets. I also have one of these grates at the bottom of my soapy bucket. So I rub this against here. And here's a quick tip. Another one that Adam taught me is, I think what a lot of people do, they take this out and they go straight to the car. What you want to do is wring this out to the point where it's not dripping. And now if you reach up and you start washing, it doesn't drip all the way down into your shirt. So
You're washing the car, not your arm.
yeah. I'm telling you guys, every time I hang out with Adam, I learn something different. He just thinks about it in such a different way, and I love it so much. And that's why, partially why I'm so excited to launch this VIP brand experience, because we're going to be having a lot of videos that have him, you know, we wash a car, but he gives you those little tips and tricks that you just don't think about all the time. So here's another pro tip. We don't sell them, but if you're married and you wear a ring, silicone rings. Okay, this is a silicone ring, so if I touch this on the car, it doesn't scratch it.
Is it a good idea to use the clay mitt after putting the soap on the entire vehicle?
Yes, but not when you initially first put the soap on. So right now, so we foamed this car this first time, and what I'm doing right now is I'm using the wash pad to agitate any loose dirt and grime that was on here when I first started my wash. That's not that dirty. But what I don't want to do is use the clay mitt or clay bar on a car that has a lot of dirt and grime on it, because that contaminates the the clay mitt or the clay bar, and it will definitely scratch the car. So I am gonna do that. I'm gonna do it a little bit different this time because I need to do an iron decontamination on this. But yeah, get it clean with like any loose dirt and grime off of it first. And then what you do is you foam it a second time and then use the clay mitt after that. Oh, I can feel the strip wash just destroying my hands. Keep asking questions. It's like my favorite part of doing the live.
How do you clean the interior suede looking material of a Hyundai Fiesta?
How do you clean the suede material, specifically in a Hyundai Fiesta? Now, I'll just be honest, I've never been in a Hyundai Fiesta, but cleaning suede, what you want to do is we have a product called a cockpit brush, and it's almost like a shoe polishing brush, but you want to brush out your suede very, very consistently. And then if you get little bits of maybe like a little bit of food stain or coffee stain or something, you can even spray carpet upholstery cleaner like into the brush and brush it. But the more moisture or liquid you address to the suede, it makes it pile up, turns into like these little balls. So you want to keep those fibers like separate. So brushing through it as much as you can is better. So that's why I say, like, instead of spraying product directly onto the suede, you spray it into the brush and then
And as little moisture as possible.
yeah, as little moisture as possible. There's the wind, Chris.
Yeah. Back.
Gosh, that makes my hands cold. I'm almost done with this washing process.
What do you do if it's too hot out and the water/soap keeps drying before you rinse it off?
That's a good question. Somebody said, what do you do if it's too hot out and the water/soap dries quickly on the car? Well, number one, pick a good time of day to wash. So, either in the morning or in the evening. And the reason why I say that is you want directional light. So, I'm washing more in the afternoon, but the sun, because it's winter, is still a little bit low in the sky. It's not as directly above. So as you can see on this car, when you come over here, there's very distinct shade, so utilizing the shade is something for sure you should do when it's really hot out. The shade is your friend. It's something that you can really utilize to prevent getting water spots while you're washing, and it's free, So utilizing the shade would be number one. Number two would be utilize the power of our soap. Okay, our soap, like I was talking about earlier, neutralizes the water. So if the soap dries on your car, it's not going to stain, and it's also not going to create water spots. So it's better to have the soap on your car dry than it is to have water on there dry. So that's all of our soaps. Yeah. And I guess the other thing I would say too is like either having a foam gun or a foam cannon. So like if you're using a pressure washer, a foam cannon. If you're using a standard garden hose, a foam gun. That's a way to distribute foam on your car evenly, which helps prevent from getting water spots.
Mango Nita says, can you use strip wash and skip polishing afterwards and just apply a protectant on it if, say, there was no ceramic coating on it and only a wax or sealant?
Yes, Mango Nita, you can. And yeah, I would say like I'm using strip wash today because I'm trying to get as much of the salt and magnesium chloride grime off of the car before I go into the polishing step. But yeah, like if the car doesn't need to be polished, you can use a strip wash to remove any of the wax or sealant. And then if it doesn't need to be polished, then go straight into either reapplying it or putting the ceramic coating on. So yeah, you can, absolutely, 100%.
Dan added that you can also use carpet upholstery for pocket brush.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Dan, for hanging out. Just gonna finish these door jams because they're really bad.
And Dan also replied to Mango Nita and said, keep in mind that if you skip polishing, it'll still be scratched.
Yeah, 100%. And I think like probably Mango Nita is, referring to like, let's say you get a car from like a dealership that maybe looks good already, doesn't need to be polished because it's not scratched, then use strip wash to, whoa, almost fell over.
Use strip wash to totally eat it
Yeah,
in the parking lot.
exactly. It was a close one, Chris. I think I just threw my back out.
You're not old enough to throw your back out. Remember you said you were 21?
Chris, I throw my back out getting out of bed, dude. That's how old I am.
You're only 87. It's fine.
I was almost born in that year.
brother was born.
Okay.
Listeners are like,
Who cares?
Yeah,
God.
exactly. I have a question for everybody watching. Has anyone seen the Bob Marley movie yet? I am a fan of reggae, so I think my wife and I are gonna go see it. But curious if anyone has any reviews. Yeah, it's a lifestyle, Chris. Okay, so the car is suds down right now. And now what I can do is put these buckets together and I can drain these while I go into the rinsing process. But like we were kind of talking about this earlier, you know, the soap being neutralized it's safer to have the soap on the car than it is to have water on the car. So right now I'm not panicking to get the soap off of the car. Okay, what I am gonna do is, like I said, I need to do an iron decon on this car. So what I'm gonna do is I'll start in the shaded side first, and I'll show you how I like to do iron remover. So I have iron remover right here. Then I have the clay mitt, and actually I want to just put this in the soapy water for a second just to get some soap on it. But the way I like to do this is I'll hold this here. I need the pressure washer.
Mark says drooling over those buckets.
Yeah, the buckets are awesome. Okay, so start here, and I'm gonna rinse off this section of the car. Okay, so I'll rinse off here. Now there's hard water on here, okay, and we know that. So I hit this rear portion of the car like this. And then, to be honest, what I like to do, I like iron remover to go directly onto the paint. So there's a bunch of water on here, so I'll just take the towel and just quickly wipe down this section I just sprayed off. And this is not to, eliminate water spots. This is so I can spray iron remover directly onto the car. So spray iron remover on. Like so, and right here. Okay, and then I take the clay mitt and I'm going to use some of the soap that I dunk this in with also the iron remover as like the clay lube, and I will go over this because here's the thing, and the thing about iron remover is iron remover does one thing. It eliminates the iron decontamination that's on the car, okay? But what it doesn't eliminate is the paint overspray or tree sap and all the other things that are bonded to the vehicle. So that's called bonding contamination. When you have paint overspray, paint paint overspray and tree sap and all those things, the clay mitt is the thing that removes that. Okay, so I'm using the iron remover as the lubrication as well as the soap to do my my decontamination with the clay mitt, but also do it with, I'm doing the iron contamination removal with iron remover as well.
Jose Vargas hasn't seen the Bob Marley movie yet, but he says check out Cultura Profética or Los Cofres for great Spanish reggae.
Oh, I love that. Okay. I like that. A little bit of a recommendation. Thank you, Mr. Vargas. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but what I did is I got my iron remover, dunked the clay mitt into the soapy bucket. I got the water off of the car with my Ultra Plush, okay? And then I sprayed iron remover on. Then I took the clay mitt, I hit it with the clay mitt. Then what I did after I was done with that, I hit it with another quick round of iron remover because it was interesting down here, like it was turning purple like crazy. Over here, it was turning purple like crazy, but when I hit it with the clay mitt, it started to take that off. Now, what it's doing now is what happens, so let's say that on your paint, okay? What happens on your paint with the iron contamination is you get paint overspray and tree sap that sits on top like this, okay? It's just sitting on top and it's bonded. I can't remove that while just doing a standard wash, okay? What iron contamination does, sometimes it sticks to the top, but oftentimes it embeds itself inside of your paint, okay? So imagine this is iron contamination, it embeds into the paint. So once I use the clay mitt and I remove the paint overspray, tree sap, and like the top portion of iron contamination, it's still inside of the paint, like shrapnel. And so I remove the top layer of it. I can't do any more with the clay mitt, spray iron remover on, and now it melts away the iron contamination that's embedded inside of the paint or the clear coat. So that's why you do an iron contamination. Iron contamination is very much more so like in your paint than it is sitting on top, okay? It's both, but there's more when it's like embedded. And you can really notice it like here, right? This is the purple bleed that's happening as the thioglycolate in iron remover starts attacking the actual metallic contamination that's in your thing. But like I was saying, so like I clayed all of this already, right? And it's still attacking certain portions of it. But down here, I clayed this and it's not. So it's not turning purple like I was expecting. So like over here, I didn't hit it with the clay mitt yet. So you can see it's really getting some of that iron contamination that's like just sitting on top of the car.
Rocky says, Greg says, can you spray iron remover on the black panel next to the front and rear windows? I'm assuming he's talking about the B-pillar.
You can, but it's not necessary. So like that, well, okay, on some cars it is necessary because like this is plastic, okay? On a lot of, like show them that car. That car is piano black, okay? You can spray iron remover onto that, but I will just tell you this.
Because there's clear coat on it.
Yeah, because it's painted. I will say this though, iron remover on dark colored vehicles, whether it's black, charcoal, midnight blue, you cannot see those orange specks in the paint. So you can do it, but I just tend to say, just clay those cars. You don't necessarily even need to do an iron decontamination because you're not gonna see the orange or black specks that are in the paint. So for dark color cars, I tend to not even go through this process. It's more on cars of this color. I mean, this is just Arctic white, it's jet white. So, so now I don't want this to fully dry on my car. So now I rinse this off. You can let it dry on the surface for a second, but like you don't want it to sit on there for a super extended period of time, okay? But the fact that I started doing this in the shade, it's not drying like really, really fast. was a ton of orange specks all over this right here, and it's gone. This is like perfectly white now. You're not really gonna see anything in the camera except perfectly clean white paint. I'm gonna bring this pressure washer around, but instead of drying this off super quick right now, because it's in the shade, I'm not too worried about it. I'll just move on to the next panels and continue my iron decon process and claying process. So come to here. Rinse off the soap from washing, and I'm not going to go onto the hood because I don't want it to dry, the water to dry up there. Just like that. Take the towel. Okay. Just like one swipe. I don't need to like get this. I just need it dry enough where I can spray iron remover on to do some work. And I'm not even drying off the plastic at the bottom. So good now. So now I'll take this.
How often would you want to use iron remover?
Iron remover in an area where you get harsh weather, meaning snow, more often. So, you know, I think with iron remover, I do it on white cars, especially if I own them, probably every 3 months. You know, I have this sort of process. Around every 3 months is when I get the oil change on my cars. It just kind of, the time aligns. And so I tend to, after I get my oil changed, I wash my car because I know they're leaning over my car. It's getting dirty no matter what. Clean my car, clean the engine also. And then if I need to do the exhaust tips, I'll do those. And then I do my iron remover process. But that's only on a silver or white or like really light colored car where you notice the iron contamination. So, but I would say like that's for me, like every 3 months, because in Colorado, like it snows. So, you know, here's the thing about snow. People drive in the snow and the brake dust is coming off of their brakes, gets mixed in with the snow, and then you drive and then the snow cakes onto your car. And when that happens, it embeds itself into your paint, or it contaminates the paint, right? So you have more iron contamination if you're somebody that drives in the snow. And so I do it every 3 months. Now, if you are like Mangonita, who lives in Ventura County, which if some of you don't know where Ventura County is, it's just north of Los Angeles, right before you get to Santa Barbara. They don't see snow ever. I think it snowed once in the last like 15 years there. So doing an iron remover there, I would say you don't have to do it as often, but just while you're washing your white colored vehicle, I would just look at it and look how much on this mirror. It's crazy. But you don't have to do it as often, but like while you're washing your white car, if you notice the little black or orange specks on the paint, then that's when you know when to do it. But I couldn't really like give you I couldn't exactly give you like an exact time frame. It just kind of depends on where you live. But that's why I kind of phrased it as like, if you live in a area where it snows, you know, every 3 months is probably a good number. We'll let this do its thing here in a second. So then what I'm going to do now is, I'll just set this over here. I'll rinse again, probably from right here, because I'm sure there's some spray that got on there. And then I'll end up drying this whole side of the car because I'm not going to get any extra water on here as I move around to the front of the car. So, yeah, really what I'm going to continue to do is my iron contamination process and bonding contamination process. So bonding contamination is removing it with the clay mitt. Iron contamination is removing it with the iron remover. Continue to dry the car. But you know, another thing I do want to say is, you notice I haven't rinsed the sunny side of the car yet because the soap is over there dried, and I'm fine with that because it's neutralized. If I rinsed it first, I would start getting water spots, and I don't want that. So I'm just kind of making my way around, and probably what I'll do over there is I'll work in the same size panels, but I'll actually dry the car off at the end, like before I move on to the next section, because like this, the water, there's still a ton of water on here. It's not dry yet, so I'm not getting water spots. On that side in the sun, it's going to dry very quick. And by the way, on the back here, I'll just spray this on. Well, here, I'll rinse this off. I'll dry it really quick, and then I'll show you the back because the back is by far the worst. Say that again?
Separate.
Say that again?
For washing towels and wash pads and that sort of thing,
Yeah.
do you need to separate what you've used with iron remover versus, like, separate out which one is which?
Yeah, that's a good question. So what's the person's?
Rocky.
Rocky says, do you need to separate your towels and the stuff you're using with iron remover? You don't. Just wash them as normal, and then you can, like, I would just wash this towel as normal, and then I would use it again to just do a normal dry.
But only wash with other microfiber towels.
Yeah, only when you wash your microfiber towels, only wash your microfiber towels with microfiber towels, because if you wash them and dry them with your like t-shirts and stuff, there's cotton. Your like this t-shirt's made out of cotton, and so what I don't want to do is get cotton into my towel because cotton can scratch your car. So and also we sell a product called towel and pad revitalizer, and that product is designed by the same, or it's formulated by the same group that makes all of our car care products. And that towel and pad revitalizer thoroughly cleans out like polish, wax, iron remover, detail spray, all that stuff to make sure your towels are fresh, ready to go every single time. So. Say that again, Chris?
Clean your car in 80-degree weather over here in Maui.
Oh, man. Well, let me just say this. I would gladly come there to do it for you. But yes, you can. And 80-degree weather's, you know, pretty decent weather. I know it can feel like really hot, especially in Maui because it's very humid out there. But yeah, you can definitely clay your car in 80-degree weather. And the reason why I say that is, again, make sure you're utilizing the shade, which is free. So pick the right time of day to wash your car. So like either in the evening or the morning, but utilize the shade. So start in the shade first when you're rinsing, foam in on the sunny side first, then rinse in the shade first and finish the rest of it. But yeah, if you manage the shade the right way, then 100% you won't have any issues. Okay. And actually on YouTube here, we have a video called How to Prevent from Getting Water Spots. And it was sort of, we got a question of like, how do I remove water spots? And I was like, you know what? It's one thing to remove water spots, but it's a whole nother thing to just not get them at all. And in that, we talk about some different tools and things you can use to prevent from getting water spots. So even if it's 100 degrees, if you use those processes, you'll be fine. Okay, so what I'll do really quick is I'm going to do the iron on the back here, because you'll definitely see, this is where the back and the bottom portions of the car are where you see the most iron contamination. So I just want you guys to be able to see how much work this iron remover is actually doing. So quick once over with the towel to get a little bit of the water off. The thing that sucks about a car that's not protected like this one is that my towel is already wasted, because since the water's so flat on here, I'm pulling up so much water. So if you have a car that's not protected, meaning like the water is really flat on the vehicle, have two towels when you do this process, which I'm gonna have to go get another one. But check this out, okay? So what I'm doing too is like as I pull this trigger, I'm not doing like little spritzes on there. I'm pulling the trigger hard to get a nice even layer of the iron remover. I think I just learned something about this car. But yeah, like, what?
Like the foot.
No, I think there's like another way you do it. I don't know how I did that. I don't know. I got to look it up. But I had a Ford Explorer before this, and you just waved your foot underneath, and it worked. But I've never been able to do it, and I have no idea how I did that. But anyways, yeah. So look at that iron contamination that's on there right now. The back is always the worst. So
how often would you use iron remover on wheels, or is wheel cleaner enough when you clean your wheels?
So iron remover and wheel cleaner have the same amount of thioglycolate in it. The difference between the two is iron remover is just like your standard kind of, is it low viscosity, Chris?
Yeah.
Low viscosity, so it's like very thin, so it's like a liquid. You can see it. It's just like your standard kind of liquid. Wheel cleaner, on the other hand, is a gel formula. And the reason why is we want to be able to spray that onto the wheel and it sticks there. And if it sticks there, it's not going to run off as much. But with iron remover, it's more about coverage. It's like you want to spray this and when you spray it, it has a wider fan and it covers more of the car. So you can absolutely use iron remover on wheels. It's not going to be as effective as wheel cleaner. So if you're asking this, use wheel cleaner for wheels. Use iron remover for the paint. Okay, so I sprayed this on here. So what I want to see here, and after this we'll jump off because really the rest of this is just drying the car. Well, finishing this and then drying the car. But I'm going to hit this with the clay mitt, and then I'll spray this on again, and then you'll see the difference. Like there is a ton of contamination on here, but I'm sure that a lot of it is just sitting on the surface. So what I want to do is spray this on here, use the clay mitt on here, and I need to spray the glass again, but
Boy, J-O-O, says, ooh, the science bit. I love that bit.
oh yeah.
About the thioglycolate.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, the person who commented, they're referring to a video that we did quite a long time ago, actually, and we sat down with our chemist, Chris Galhar at B&B Blending, and he told us, he kind of walked us through the science of how the thioglycolate works in iron remover and wheel cleaner, and it was like really interesting. We got I think we got like the plastic molecule things out and everything. And yeah, if that's something that you're interested in to know like in depth how the thioglycolate is working, that's a great video to reference. And you know that series is called Beyond the Process. And that was just like a little series that we used to do that really was to dive a little bit deeper, because I think oftentimes, you buy car care products and people will be like, wow, look at the purple, that's how you know it's working. It's like, okay, well, great, it's kind of gimmicky, but like, what is it actually doing, And so we wanted to help people understand that, like, especially like here at Adams Polishes, everything we do is data driven and there's science behind everything. So we did that video with Chris and it was really cool to see. So now spray the iron remover back on, and what I'm pretty sure is going to happen, might be kind of hard to see, but we'll let this sit for a second. But I think a lot of the iron contamination came off into the clay mitt versus, because I think it was like sitting on top for the most part. Just because like the snow, it just snowed and everything. But like you can see where I missed claying up here. So
Is it safe to clay first and do iron remover second?
yeah, you can. So somebody asked, can you clay first and do iron remover second? 100% safe. I mean, it's just the reason why I like to do claying and iron remover at the same time is it just combines 2 steps in the process. So it just, in my mind, it's a little bit easier. It makes it more efficient, you know? So yeah, versus like separating the steps, you know? And just so you know too, like iron remover, like I can't put the clay mitt in these creases. So like getting this into like where the rear window meets the paint, you can see how crazy it is in there. Oh my God, it's great. That's where like iron remover really shines as well. So another great thing. But now you can see like it's purple mainly from like where I clayed, but there's only like a couple now that are really like bleeding from.
Versus like all over.
Yeah, versus you could see all the little specks everywhere, you know. And actually, I probably should hit the clay mitt inside here.
Do you guys have a high-end pressure washer?
Do we have a high-end pressure washer?
I think this is Maui Henry.
Do we? Let me tell you. Yeah, we do. It's called the Pro Grade pressure washer, and I'm actually using it right now. We just have it mounted inside, and what I'll do, I will rinse this off, and then I'll show it to you really quick. But yeah, the Pro Grade pressure washer is awesome. The Pro Grade pressure washer is very heavy, but it's electric. It's an electric pressure washer, and I think the specs on it are like, I think it's rated at like 2,000 psi at like 1.8 or 2 GPM. GPM meaning gallons per minute. So it puts out like a lot of water. So rinsing, like what I'm doing right now, is very easy. But the thing I like about it, my favorite thing about it is with it being electric, it only turns on when I pull the trigger. So like inside right now, and I'll show you this in a second, but the noise factor of the Pro Grade pressure washer is just, there's virtually like there's only noise when you're using it, but it's not gonna piss off your neighbors. So I like it for the performance, but also I like it very much for some of the other specs that it has. So yeah, look at that. That's just, there was just so much black and orange specs on here. Like now it's virtually, there's like none on there. And that's really the power of both the clay mitt and the iron remover working together. So that's much better for me. So let me just get some of this dried off because I don't want to get water spots as I end the live video.
Can you use iron remover in a foam cannon?
Can you use iron remover in a foam cannon? Probably, but I wouldn't recommend it. I don't think it's necessary. And the reason why, well, you know what? In fact, we've tried it before and it doesn't work. The reason why is when you aerate the iron remover, it makes the thioglycolate not work. It like we've done it and it doesn't turn purple at all on the car, which means that the thioglycolate's not being effective. What's that? You're getting on the plastic too, which is fine, but you know, yeah, I wouldn't do it. It doesn't make it effective, and I think, you know, aside from that, using iron remover the way I'm doing it, where you're controlling where you're working in your sections is more effective because, like I said earlier, this whole side, you can see it on the glass. The soap has dried on here completely, but it's better to have the soap dry than it is to have water on there. So I'm not like being able to control like what I'm doing with my iron remover process, decontamination process allows me to not introduce damage to the car. Not to say that if you foamed it, you would. I think the iron remover is using it as it is, and using it in the right process is a better option. So yeah. Okay, pretty much done with the live. So week 1, kind of getting the car ready for the polishing step. So we clean the wheels and tires. We wash the engine, wash the car, and then did decontamination on it with iron decontamination, as well as just bonded contamination removal of paint overspray, tree sap, things like that. And to be honest with you, it's very smooth, but the paint's very dry. Like my hand's sticking on this. So I know like this thing really needs, not only does it need a polish, because I'm sure the paint's being oxidized, that's why my hand it's not so smooth. It should feel like I don't even know, like, I think everyone says like a baby's butt, right? Not to say that, should be feeling babies' butts, but, but it should feel like really, really smooth, and it's not, it's just dry right now. So I know like once I get into the polishing step, it's going to clarify the paint, remove a lot of the swirl marks that are on there, but it's also just going to be much more slick. And I don't know if you can see it on here, Chris, but the swirl marks are really bad on here. So even though it's a white car, that doesn't mean white cars don't need to be polished. They for sure need to be polished to remove all this damage. And that's what I'm dealing with is the previous owners probably just took it through the car wash, which is fine. I have no problem with it. It just, that's not what I want my car to look like. So next week, what we'll do is we'll have the car inside, maybe even outside if it's taken up with pallets, but we'll get into the polishing process. So we'll do a test area, figure out what the car needs, and then we'll start doing it to the rest of the car. So just prepare yourself for next week if you're gonna watch, because it will be a lot of polishing. And I can talk a lot about the process, but next week will be a great time to bring any detailing questions that you have, because we're not gonna be, it's not like we're doing wheels and tires and then washing and explaining a lot of these different things. There's a lot of different steps we did today just with this sitting here. Next week, it will be mainly like polishing. So next week will probably be a little bit shorter of a live, but still, I think we're on the right track of getting this car looking amazing. So somebody asked about the highest level pressure washer. We have it mounted up there. So that's the pressure washer there. So as you notice, when I'm not pulling the trigger, there's no noise. It's not, the pump's not even engaged, it's not even on. But as soon as I pull the trigger, that's as loud as it gets. Okay, so even if you have this with your garage open, like your neighbors are probably not even, the spray coming out of the nozzle is louder than the actual pressure washer. So, and again, I'm curious, I don't know if you can see up there, Chris, what it's running at. Yeah, so it's rated, I think, at 2,000 or maybe above that, but that's all pressure washers are rated at like if it hit a wall. So the way they put a cap on it where water can't escape, they pull the trigger and then they see how much pressure it hits a wall essentially. Once you put a pressure washer tip on it, then it will start to go down because the flow of water goes higher, but the PSI goes down. So I think when I'm using this, I'm running it, it's like kind of at that 1600 to 1800 PSI with the 1.8 or 2.0 GPM, which is like, for me, is ideal. And I'd even say 1500 to 1300 is okay in PSI, but that 1.8, 2.0 GPM is just like right in the sweet spot for when you're washing cars. I know like when you're doing more industrial type of stuff or pressure washing your house, you're better off maybe having a gas pressure washer that's more up in the 2,500 to 3,000 psi with the same 2.0 GPM. So you don't want too much pressure washing cars because you don't want to be peeling paint off and things like that. So yeah, okay. I thought you had another question, but okay. Well, thank you guys for watching this week. Again, just as a reminder, sign up for our VIP brand experience. If you go to the link in our bio on Instagram or just check it out on Facebook, we have this new program where you sign up for this email list and you can get early access to content, early access to new products, early access to limited editions. And it's just a little bit more, we're trying to give more to the people looking for more from us here at Adams Polishes. So make sure you go check that out, sign up for the VIP brand experience, and trust me, it's going to be awesome. We're going to start rolling it out next week on Monday. I'm very excited for it, and I'll see you guys next week.